Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you all are doing well. Tis time to get to work. Okay. We're working on Ajax from the first Descendant. Last time we worked on him, we finished off the pauldron. And we sculpted it very... hey, what's up, Big Daz? Hello, Zeradini and Sapphire. We sculpted it very symmetrically, so what we're going to do now is we're going to produce a mold of this pauldron so we can duplicate it and plop it on the other side. So that is what we will be doing tonight. I might actually be able to remove this from the character too. And then we can work on other aspects on the character while the shoulders are while we're working on those separately. Yeah, we'll probably do that. Before we jump in, let me pull up our reference material. Hey, Clayton, good evening. Just one moment, please. Let's do, let's see, Ajax, last bastion. Weird. Oh, I found myself in the live feeds on YouTube. I was able to search for my own stream accidentally. Let's see. Okay, let's see here. Let's see if I could find it. Ah, there it is. Okay. Reference acquired. Hello, Saint Andrew. Okay, so I think we will remove this from here. Oh, you know what? I don't think I have my knife here. Well, first thing we'll do is I'll go get my X-Acto knife. Just a second, let me grab it, and then we're gonna cut this pauldron off of his shoulder. And then we're going to start the duplication process. And while the duplication process is working, we're going to work on other aspects of the character. Oh, wow. I requireth the blade of severing. Order has been restored. There is no bond the blade cannot sever. Okay. Let's see here. There we go. Clean this up a bit here. I say, good evening, Peter. And yes, indeed. Some evening adventures. The quest continues to complete this project. This one's going pretty well. I think by the end of this week, there's a good chance we could possibly be in the painting stage, depending on how everything goes. There's really not that much stuff left to do. Gonna clean up this corner here. Okay. So we can actually see how it's going to look on the other side, because... Oh, actually, no, let's take some of this. Well, no. Let's not mess with this until we make the mold. We don't want to deform the shape at all. Okay. So, first order of business. Let's get that separator. Do you happen to know why this skin looks so different than the original character? I have no idea. I have no clue. It's obvious. It seems pretty obvious to me. They were very medievally inspired, I guess. You know, especially the name of the skin being the Last Bastion. When we did the promotional event with them, it was during Halloween time, so I wonder if it has something to do with that. Definitely want to get a good coating here. Probably do 2 coats. Probably heat this up with the heat gun too, so we can really get this process rolling. Mr. Sarab, how do you do? Good evening. Doing pretty good, man. Not too shabby. Been a fairly smooth Monday. I got confirmation from the boys over at Cosplay. We got another shipment coming in. I asked them this time to send me a couple boxes of soft Cosplay. I have a feeling for the mold making that using the softer variety will, since the mold making process is 0 precision. I've had it before. Yeah, it's really soft. Which, when you're trying to do, details and stuff is very difficult, but when you're trying to move the clay around a lot, like in large quantities, it makes things a lot easier. But so for the sake of making molds and filling the molds, it's actually perfect. Because the softer it is, the easier it is to smash it into the detail, Hey, digital. Let's just brush over lightly once more here. I'll make sure their edge around is pretty good here. Okay, one more with the heat gun. Okay. So now we take our clay here. And we're going to do a 2-part mold with the parting line right here in the middle. It'll be 1/2 and 1/2. Start with the parting line. Hey, Kev Rose, how you doing? That will be... This would be a place that would get caught here, so we're not going to mold that in, and we'll just carve it out. Oh, geez. Tooth issue that ended you in the ER? Was like an infection or something that spread? Crazy. Glad you're doing all right now, man. Swelling in lockjaw. Did they end up needing to remove a tooth or anything, or at the ER, do they just stabilize you and then they send you off to a dentist, or how does that work? Oh, geez. Okay. Two needles in 30 seconds. You popped it out. Yep. Yep. I've had a few teeth removed. I know the the extents of how bad tooth pain can get, man. It's not fun. Not a fun type of pain. Death by toothache. That would be unfortunate. Good, man. I'm glad you're doing okay. Life present, the dragons of real life right there. Epic battles. We all have to fight them. Yeah, I heard that. They changed it up. Some people like it, some people don't. For various reasons. Hello, Luna. Mm-hmm. Zol, hello, Zol. All right. Let's clean up this mold line here. We want this to be flush up against the sculpture. A nice, clean parting line. And then we will... You know what, let's move this a little bit more. Like here. I'm doing good. Doing really good. It's been a fine day. Fine day to be alive. The journey continues.
Listen closely, traveler, to what I say. Twitch Prime does not even cost a dime.
Hey, I appreciate that, Noodle. Hey, thank you very much, man, for the 16 months of support. Thank you very much. Oh, there it is. I do appreciate that first sub of the evening. Keeping the ship afloat over here. The journey continues. One subscriber at a time. The journey continues. No voyage. Every voyage requires funding. That's right. Pushing in our keys here. Get this tossed in the oven. All right. That'll be the first half of that mold. We'll bake it, lock it in, and then we'll be able to smush the second half on there. While that's cooking, we'll work on another part of the armor. I'll be right back. right. Got that cooking. Now, let's see here. Let's see, he's got these little fins, one that's on the top of his head and then one on each of the shoulders. And I believe they're the same shape and size, so maybe we'll make those. Definitely the one on the shoulders are the same. It's hard to tell if the one on the head is the same. I think it might be a little bit different. Okay. Let's see here. Let's just work on there's another neck guard part. We'll work on that. First things first, we might want to get in there with the Dremel tool and clean up some of that. Yeah, let's do that. Sure. Okay. Maybe something like this. I have like a flat topped one. This one. See if there's a smaller one. Ah, perfect. Okay. Box of bits. All right. And we'll get some safety glasses on here. right. He's got space for a bow tie, yeah. I think we'll just pack some clay in there and make it look a little bit nicer. And then we'll do the plate that goes in the front. Kind of covers it up. Plain Guaca, reporting for duty. Good evening, my friend. Yeah. Now let's fill this in here. Okay, now work on this plate that goes in the front here. we need to shape the planes, and then cut the edges.
close.
All right, let me dinner's ready. Let me go chow down real quick, and I'll grab that part that's out of the oven. I'll get that out of the oven as well. Build the second half of the mold. I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. All right. Back to it. All right, I'll let that dry a little bit. Yeah. Yep. We sure will. Whether they'll be used for something or not, I don't know. The purpose of them is already served, for what we're for the project we're making them for. The amount of time saved is worth the material cost. Okay, so now we're going to draw the line that we need to cut here. Slightly above here. Hey, Brock. Ooh, working on a myconid. Nice. Mm-hmm. Bronchitis. Well, that's good. Glad you're recovering. The body hath prevailed again. This time. Alright, I'll set that to the side for now. Let's get this other side of this mold started. So I get that tossed back in the oven. I think this is day, what is this, day 11? 11 days? Let's say about 4 hours per day, 3 or 4. So we're looking at about 30 probably 35 hours on this piece. Not too bad. It's it's only a bust, and but it is a mechanical likeness, meaning it has to look like a specific character that's happens to be a very geometric, symmetrical character. So it tends to take longer to render. A little more a margin for error is definitely smaller. Oh my goodness, Sylvester. Don't you be spreading your earworms here. Oh, nice. Nice progress, Moxie. It just shows you it's not going to sculpt itself. Hey, you have a good one too, Sylvester. Not gonna sculpt itself. Actually, it really does start sculpting itself when you do reach a certain point in your flow, where you get to a flow state where your hands are essentially on autopilot and you're just kind of watching them do their thing. That does happen. So you can reach a place where it kind of sculpts itself. I do. I certainly do. I certainly know a lot about taking on big things, biting off more than you can chew. It's like when you were a kid and you had like a dry piece of steak you had to chew through. Yeah. Felt like you were chewing on it for forever, and you even took like a drink of water and it's still just as chewy as before. The water just you water just goes right through and you drink it and the steak the chewy steak is still there. Still remains. Yeah, so just gotta keep chewing. One chew at a time. Eventually you'll get it. Choose your own adventure. Okay, this needs to go over the edge right here. A little bit of an overlap. Yeah, it does, right? Even a simpler idea, too, you know? There are ways to speed up like a full character. For example, one method I've seen done really well, and I've been tempted to do myself and probably will at some point, is where you sculpt certain aspects of the character with clay, but then you make uh, like for example, you make the hands and the head out of clay, and then you use mixed media for the body. So like clothing, you use a mixed media approach, like actually stitching together pieces of cloth and making the body out of like almost like how a teddy bear is made, where there's a wire armature in there, but then there's stuffing and then actual clothing on top of that. So you like mixed media is a great way to kind of get more done, cover more ground with not as much work. So, and it can produce really nice results. But okay, let's get this tossed in the oven. That'll complete the shoulder mold. And then when this comes out, we'll be able to duplicate the pauldron, and then we'll have the whole other pauldron sculpted just like that. I'll be right back. All right, that's cooking. We'll want to give that probably about 40 minutes since it's the mold. We want it to be properly baked. Why did you cover that shoulder piece and put it back in the oven? Wasn't it baked already? Yeah, so the shoulder was baked and finished. Then I coated it with this solution here, which stops any additional clay from fusing to the surface. And then what I did is I covered half of it with smashed clay on half of it, baked it again, and then did the other half and baked it again. So that's what we just did. So what's going to end up happening is we're going to be able to remove these shell pieces that'll have perfect indentations of the shoulder pad. And then we'll paint this solution inside the mold on the inside, the shells, and then put clay inside of them and bring them together. And then we'll have another pauldron just like that. So since it's a symmetrical pauldron, that means they're the same on front and back is the same, meaning I can mirror it to the other side without having to sculpt it from the beginning again. So some pauldrons, they're not the same on the front and back. It's called the C1 separator. C1, made by Cosclay. It's yeah, it's like a mold release for polymer clay. So good stuff. Yeah, it's this is one of, so Cosclay itself, just the fact that it's flexible is groundbreaking, and when it comes to making one-of-a-kind pieces. And then you combine it with stuff like this, and it's even more just, and this only works with Cosclay because of that flexibility, because you need some flexibility to be able to get it in and out of molds, you know, so it really is a game changer. So right, yeah, and I mean, I'm not making molds for like reproducing the whole character, because I still think the best way, like say I was to mold this whole thing and duplicate it, reproduce it, the best way to do that still would be the traditional molding and casting with silicone and with resin. But when we're doing like I'm just making this pauldron one more time, so when we're doing these little quick molds just to get an additional feature on the one-of-a-kind piece, it's just me saving time. So I'll do the same thing, like say there's like a character that has like a bunch of little skulls all over it, or like a fancy rivet, but it's like 7 or 8 times. I could just sculpt it the one time and then duplicate it 7 or 8 times. So please ask them to send some to New Zealand. Anything outside of the US, they don't have control with like what is offered, what is sold, because they don't distribute themselves. So essentially, it's up to whoever is buying Cosclay in New Zealand to buy some of that from them. So those are the people you have to ask. Whoever the supplier for New Zealand is, they need to be told, hey, I'd really like to buy some of those liquid mediums if you could get some in, you know. So, never made a mold of a completed character. I have a long time ago, but I know the procedure. I've done it enough times to know the procedure. It's a lot. It's not as simple as like, oh, hey, let me just slap this mold together and start churning out full sculptures. Because usually anything that's bigger or more complex is going to require more. You're going to have to cut the piece apart into sections. You're going to have to. Yeah. And the molding casting process is like an art within itself, for sure. How to mold your own characters, yeah. Yeah. Well, okay, so the problem the problem with the traditional approach to molding and casting is that if you don't have the right equipment for it, which is not like just cheap equipment, it's hard to get a like high quality reproduction that doesn't have bubbles and a bunch of things you got to fix. So you need a what's called a pressure pot or a vacuum chamber or both. A vacuum chamber is like a tank that is capped off at the top, and there's a compressor that pulls all the air out of the tank. And then a pressure pot is a tank that you have to like screw closed, and then you fill the tank with pressure, pressurized it. You pump air into the tank, and what that does is so you pour liquid resin into your mold, and usually you get those tiny little pin air bubbles inside of the liquid. You just can't get rid of them, you know. And when you put them in a pressure pot, the pressure is so much that the bubbles shrink down to like a microscopic level, so you can't see them. Like completely, it looks like they're completely gone, but they're just compressed, so small you can't see them. And then when the resin hardens, well, then it's locked in place. Then you're good. Then you remove the pressure, and then boom, you have like perfect casts. So usually, and then the vacuum chamber is when you're mixing the solution together, the silicone and the resin, you put it in a vacuum chamber. That'll suck the air bubbles out of you from the mixing. So it's like a air bubble less, mixture, and then you pour your mold, and then you put it in under pressure, So yeah, so the ideal scenario is you have both those things, which are not cheap pieces of equipment. But you can still, I did molding without it, and you can do that. It's just, like I said, it's very difficult to not encounter issues with air bubbles and stuff like that. So there's certain things you could do, like you can dust the mold with like a talc powder, which is essentially like baby powder. You can put it in the mold, dust it around, and then when you fill the mold with the liquid, that powder kind of breaks the surface tension and will make it so the liquid just kind of sucks to the sides, and there's no air bubbles stuck to where the detail is. So I always thought, I never got to try this, but I always wondered if heating the mold would also prevent air bubbles too. Where you take the silicone mold and you put it in the oven and preheat it, and then when you pour the resin, it will, the heat causes the bubbles to move, to kind of float to the top. So I don't know. It's a whole nother. It's just literally, it's like a whole nother way to workflow, and it's very expensive because not only is the equipment expensive to do it, but the materials are very expensive. Like good silicone and good resin is pretty pricey, and you also need a lot of space, and it's also not, it's a pretty being around resin, uncured resin is not very good for like long-term type stuff. So then you got to get like good ventilation in your workspace and all kinds of stuff. So not the kind of route I wanted to go down. I'm much happier sticking with one of a kind pieces made out of polymer clay. Quite happy there. All right, Saradini. We'll catch you later. We'll see ya. Drive safe. Talked you out of it. I mean, I think you should do, if you're interested in it, you should go through the process, and really just see how it is, because, it's, I went through that process multiple times, and, you just gotta, that's what it takes to learn it, really, is to experience it. Because it does open doors. And I remember just getting my mind around what it takes to make a good mold. Like, it was hard to understand until I went through the motions. It's hard to wrap my mind around it. Okay. No crying. No crying and sculpting. I think this needs to be more over like this. It's, what you should start with if you're interested in molding? A one-piece mold, which is essentially something that has a flat back, or what they call a block mold. It's a much simpler thing, but usually when you get into full characters, you're dealing with two-part molds. Second, folks, I gotta take the puppies out real quick. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. When they gotta go, they gotta go. Okay, let's get back to it. I was gonna say, molding can't be easy when they're holding weapons and such. Yeah, you essentially you just try to kind of make the project come apart strategically. That's gonna make it easier for you to mold the pieces, and then you have to, on each of the casts, put it together. But if you don't do a good job with your mold making and you don't plan it out correctly, you create a lot of work for yourself. Because the idea is to do a successful mold is to eliminate a lot of work, by being able to duplicate sculptures relatively easily once the work is done. But if you're having to make adjustments on every piece because the mold didn't quite work out, it really adds up to be a lot of work. So can. So a really good mold is one where you have to do pretty much little to no work after the molding is done. Just a little bit of cleanup maybe of the parting lines. And then you should be good to go. There's some people out there that their passion is making molds, and they're not quite sculptors; they're just mold makers, and you can always outsource that part of the operation. But then you got to pay them, of course. And if you got to pay them, that means you got to sell those pieces to make it worthwhile. Hey, what's up, Rob? How you doing, brother? Okay. Yeah, no. Cool, man. I hope you're having a wonderful day off. Watching foosball and hanging here, huh? Good old foosball. We'll be glad to have you, my friend. How's everything going now that you're kind of settled into the new area? Kind of everything going pretty steady? What'd I tell you about watching that foosball, Robbie? Don't you be watching no foosball. Nice, man. Good. Going steady. Happy to hear it. That's right. And there you are sitting there watching it. Funny thing is, the last time I watched a football game was when I was in Germany. God, what game was it? Was it the Lions? Lions versus, I don't even remember. Vikings? Which is funny. They're pushing American football over there in Germany. I see commercials on their normal TV all the time. They're trying to Americanize everybody. Hey, Tetsu. Buenas noches. Buenas noches. Bien, bien, ¿y tú? Toro es bueno. How do you say that? ¿Cómo se dice all is good en español? Todos los días es bueno. Todos. Todo bien. Todo bien. Because the one saying that helped me learn so much Spanish was ¿Cómo se dice? Got a Spanish-speaking work colleague, and ¿Cómo se dice? And you'll have a good Spanish language by the time you're done working with that person. Hey, thanks. There's really not a whole lot left to do on this guy. A few things. I'll be in the painting phase. Maybe we can get to the painting phase this week. That'd be nice. Let's make, there's like a little object here, and then there's ones on the shoulders too. I think the best way to do that is flat on a piece of wood. We'll roll some clay with the pasta machine. And then make the part. Yeah, I feel like it's very this design for the skin was inspired by like, you know, like the medieval ages. Certainly seems so. Okay, so let's put a piece of clay here. Let's put down some clay glue so it actually sticks. Let me see the shape of this thing from the side. Too far. Okay, let's cut a straight line. Let's see, it should be about this length right here. It goes from skinny to wide in a nice taper. Like so. Top kind of goes at an angle like this. Oh. I think we'll carve it into shape. Got a few little details and stuff on there, but it's gonna be much easier if it's baked. Let's go toss that in the oven. Let's grab the pauldron out of the oven. I'm gonna put this guy in the oven too to lock in that little neck piece. Then we can demold the pauldron and do our first run. Well, should be the only one. I'll be right back. Forgot to put our character in the oven. Oops. It's all right. He can stay for now. So I pulled this out of the oven and then I dunked it under cold water so it cooled down faster. Because I was being impatient. He is still pretty warm though. This side seems less hot. Oh, it's still pretty hot. You could risk it. Whew. Starting to get hot because of the heat radiating back out of the middle. Nice and clean. That's an easy one. Crispy details. Should be good. Okay, let's get the other side off here. Very good. Very good. Okay, so now we paint the separator in here. While it's still warm, it'll dry quicker. What's the life expectancy for a piece like that? Forever. It will last forever. Oop. As long as it takes plastics to break down in the environment. How long am I booked up? I can't really give you a time for how long. It's just too hard to really put a time on it. But I am booked up for quite a bit. But there's no harm in starting discussions. Even if we lock in a budget for a project, I don't take any payment till I actually can start working on it. So. Better to speak about it sooner rather than later. Because honestly, it's been since I started doing this work. My list has always been full. There's never a time where the list is empty. It's like a hydra. You chop one head off and 2 more grow back. That do its thing and dry. We can start preparing this and removing the remove this foil. Actually, I wonder if we can remove the whole ball here. Hey, pretty nice. Let's get a fresh blade here. Start slicing. Need to almost re-up on blades. I bought this pack of blades like 5 years ago. Lasted quite a bit. Be easier to use the Dremel here, but it's too late to run the Dremel. There are guests in the cnotbusch kingdom that are asleep. All right. Good enough for now. Very good. Yeah, so this one also has a flat strip there too.
sunset fell on a ripe field, it painted everything in red. Small boy stood on the hill, he saw the evil fire spread. Darkness and desperation was feasting in the village town, and people crying out loud, but the devil only laughed and danced around. Oh dear, abandoned last love, you just vanished in the abbeys of oblivion. The joy of life forever has gone. All is gone, only legend will carry on. Will carry on.
Beat this up with the heat gun here.
When the dawn wakes the world and the sun rises high, you can hear boys singing for the times long gone away. The spells of vicious forces started scattering and hiding in the dark. The boy's wish has come true now. His song was heard by the shining star. A hero drew his sword and the demon's blood was shed. He's gone now, no more bad dreams, peace only like they once had. Oh dear, my tiny last love, time has come for you to rise and stand again. Those who were fighting to the last one, we remember in our songs forevermore. Oh, forevermore. Little boy sings a song to the star above, with a mind full of courage and heart filled full of love.
Okay, spread it around one more time here.
The nightmare is forgotten. Serenity, times are back at last. The heroes on new journey, adventures, ways on their way.
more time should do it. Now we need to mix some clay to fill this mold here. Oh, wait. We got raided. Sorry, I didn't notice. Apologies. I was in my own
Listen closely,
world
traveler,
here.
to what I say. Twitch Prime does not even cost a dime.
Hey, Zorkius, thank you very much for the 7 months, my friend. I appreciate it. Thanks for supporting my work. Keeping food on the table. We do like food. And shelter. And clothing. Very good things. And let's see here. Kanonen und Spatzen. Kanonen und Spatzen. So, are you a Deutschlander? Yeah, you are. Hallo, wie geht's es dir? Willkommen. Yeah, it is late, isn't it? About to hit the pill. Yeah, I appreciate it. Dankeschön for the raid. Cannons and sparrows. Okay. Kanonen und Spatzen. Die Flugen. Die Fliegen. Flugel? What's one for bird? Fliegen and flying. Flugel? I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Toll. To shoot with cannons at sparrows. I love German sayings. What's the one with the bird on your head? It's always so funny when you translate German sayings into English. Like here in America, we say "ants in your pants," right? When somebody's like, when a kid can't sit still. And in German, it translates to "bumblebees in your butt." Yeah, that's a good target. Hey, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words, my friends. Actually, was just in Germany for a whole month. In the beginning of was it October to November? Yeah. October 15th to November 15th. I was in Germany. In the state of Hessen, a little village near Fulda. If you know of it. Hey, thanks, man. So what do you do on your stream? What kind of stuff you got going on over there? Oh, you doing VR sculpting? I've always wanted to try that. Oops. Okay. All right, I'm gonna get this mold filled and get everything thrown in the oven here, and then I'm gonna call it a night. But I want to go raid somebody now before they get off. Looks like one of our favorite musicians is over on someone else's stream, streaming collab music. So let's go check them out. Ferdinand Ufrit, you know of him. Very talented guy. So let's go get a raid started, and I'm gonna get on out of here, folks. I'll be back on tomorrow morning, bright and early, 8 a.m. Hopefully I see you guys then. If not, I'll see you tomorrow evening or next time, whenever that may be. Thank you for being a wonderful audience tonight, everybody. I wish you the best. I hope to see you here again real soon. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.